How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the Weeb Mine. I've got one hell of a big project coming up very shortly. I'll get into details later, but oh boy, it is something. All right, first off, just some little minor updates down here. Now, the CPU miners, I decided to turn off. Why? As much as I want to keep them mining Raptoreum, I'm trying to be really conservative with electricity right now because I am pushing the limits. Like, we broke the limit down here, but I'm also feeding off of the regular house power supply. I have 100 amps dedicated to this. A 100 amp line just goes here, but those CPU rigs and a few other things are just going off the rest of the supply, and I'm a little worried that I might even start straining that. So I am being really conservative right now. They'll come back on once I get some power issues taken care of, which theoretically next week we'll get a final schedule and a plan to start getting stuff done. As far as the big project, I'll get to it in a moment. Down here, like, I even stopped mining with this guy. Okay, that had a 1080 in it and a 3060 in it, LHR, and I stopped mining with it because I took the 1080 out for my new board game streaming computer, and the 3060 is what's left in there, and I'm like, you know what, I don't want to run a whole computer for just a 1080 or a whole computer for just a 3060. So I turned them off, save a little bit of power. The only other things I've been doing down here, and as you can see, got some thermal pads, right? And I got a ton of thermal pads. I stocked up on these guys, like a whole bunch of them, different sizes, because I know I'm going to need them. What I did is I went through all the LHR rigs, and anything that was overheating a bit or whatever, I went ahead and fixed the thermal pads. And it's one of those projects where, a lot of them are already done, but some of them I got during the winter. I was like, oh, well, if they, they're kind of hot or whatever, but there's a lot of cold air coming through, so I'm not going to worry about it. Now it's time to start worrying, I got to catch up. And the weird thing is the MSI Suprim X cards, the 3080 Ti and the 3070 Ti, were overheating to about 104 degrees Celsius. I changed out the thermal pads in those, and now they're like in the high 70s, low 80s. Awesome upgrade. But here's the one that astounded me, okay? This is a Ventus X3 3080 Ti, okay? This guy. And I always had heating problems with it and hashing problems with it. Basically, it would sit at like 106 to 108 no matter what I did, even toning it down. I knew it needed thermal pad replacements, but for whatever reason I kept putting it off. Okay, it went from 108 degrees Celsius to 74 degrees Celsius after replacing the thermal pads. Whatever thermal pads, MSI, I hope you're listening. Whatever thermal pads you were using in these are absolute garbage, and they will cause these to overheat. That goes with a lot of the video card manufacturers. For whatever reason, those thermal pads are something that these card manufacturers just, they skimp on. They don't think it needs to be addressed. It does. Not just for miners, but for gamers. I've got a computer in there that had two 3090 Suprim X's in it, running SLI right now. I changed out the thermal pads and everything, but both of them were running really hot, just sitting there playing like Vanguard. So, change out the pads, please. It's only like an extra like 50 cents for you guys, or a quarter, if that, or something. Just switch the pads, different manufacturers, something. My God, stop being so cheap, especially when you're selling us cars that cost over $2 grand. Okay, ran over. I need to go to a slightly different location for the next update. And now, welcome to my garage. There's an awful lot of junk in here. I mean, there's a grill, there's a broken window, big old air compressor and everything. And this. All right, now this is a grow tent. Now, you might have seen some other videos with this if you're halfway somewhat familiar. And what people are actually doing is they will get a small 4x4 tent, put a whole bunch of mining rigs in it, and then exhaust the air up and out, right? And what that actually does is allows people to put smaller farms inside their basement or a closet, or even, you know, just in a bedroom or something, and be able to manage the air. You know, take in cold air from the outside. You know, this will get zipped up, and there'll be some little bit of ventilation on the sides and such. But it allows them to hook some stuff up and ventilate the hot air out. Now, why am I putting this in the garage? Huh? Well, let's put it this way. Most people do a 4x4, okay, which is roughly half this, all right? It's four deep, 8 wide, this guy, and almost 7 foot tall. This is a big boy, okay? I figured, you guys know me, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to go all the frickin' way and be stupid about it. And this is pretty much the next major project. I got this set up right now, but there's technically nothing I can do with it. There's nothing out here, at least for now. One of the first things that we got to do is we need to get power out here. Right now it's just like 60 amps worth of power out here to handle all the other stuff. It's not enough for mining rigs. I could put like 1 or 2 out here, low power ones, but it's not something to mess with. We're going to be upgrading it to 200 amps, which technically should be able to handle more than what I have down in the basement. The second thing I have to do before I can put anything in here is security. Okay, this is my garage, right? I'm not out here all the time. So we are going to get some heavy security out here. And I'm talking cameras, I'm talking a reinforced door. I'm going full stupid with this thing. Basically, if somebody walks by this garage with nothing more than a swift breeze, the cops will descend from helicopters and shoot them in the face, okay? That's the level of security that I want to get out here, because, you know, all those video cards are worth a couple of bucks. So those are 2 things that we have to get set up before we can actually come out here. And once the security is set up, I'm not telling you guys a damn thing. Security is security for a reason, okay? But there will be a really nice system out here. I'm just going to keep that on the hush-hush. But everything else out here it's going to be just absolutely insane. Now, here's the idea. We're going to get at least 5 30 amp plugs in here. We're going to get 5 PDUs. And there's going to be at least, I measured it out, 5 of those Amazon racks, you know, with the hanging GPUs. We're going to get at least 5 of those in there, probably a little bit extra besides, and theoretically run about 12 to 15 rigs out of just this. And we're going to be sticking to lower end cards, lower wattage cards, stuff like that. You know, not the big 3090s like what I got in the house. You know, none of that kind of stuff is going to be out here. But we're going to put, you know, like my Vega 64 rig, and I'm working on a 5700 XT rig. That'll get put out here. Now, you've seen other miners set up little ones before with a 4x4. And I can't remember who the guy was. He has one of these. It's a 4x4 green one in his basement. 2 air pushers pulling air out, and he's pulling so much air out that the tent is getting like sucked in because of the pressure, right? If he happens to see this, that's bad. Do me a favor, take, as you have it now with the air getting sucked out, all out and everything, take the average temperatures of multiple parts of your rig, all right? Multiple GPUs, select them at random. And then, once you get that done, open up your tent just enough to where that suction goes away and it kind of balances out. Wait probably about a half hour to an hour and then check the temps again. Theoretically, if science is right, you should actually see a drop in temps on your cards. You don't want that massive amount of negative pressure because you're actually just hurting yourself. So there's that. There's science behind it. I don't know what it is, but it's science. Bitch, well, whatever, okay. So the idea with this guy is I'm going to be pulling a lot of air through here. A ridiculous amount of air, maybe more air or close to what's in the basement. And we're going to do it with 4 air handlers. These are inline duct fans, TerraBloom, that it can actually, all 4 can connect to a single controller. I can set that controller for certain temperatures and everything to keep the ambient temperature inside the tent as low as possible. And they'll variable speed, all this stuff, it'll be hands off. I just come out here, hook them up and click it and tell it what to do, you know, and then it'll do it. These guys are almost 1,000 CFM each. There's going to be 4 of them, which means 4 10,000 freaking CFM of air going through. That's a lot, guys. Okay, that's a stupid amount of air. It is more than enough to make this tent start to collapse in on itself. Okay, it's going to be that much suction. Of course, we're not going to let it do that. We're going to open it up a little bit to try to equalize that air pressure. And it's maddening. See, here's how I work. Okay, this is how stupid it is. Okay, I'm sitting here, I was like, you know what? I need to expand. And the original idea was to actually build on top of the garage here, to build up above, to add a floor to this garage. But that's a big expense, ain't it? Right? Add value to the house, extra garage. Okay, that's fine, but it's a lot of money. And I didn't really want to do it because after I get done, you know, I move all my mining stuff and everything, get done, and I end up spending like 30 or 40 grand to get that done. It's like, wait a minute, I can buy a tent. I can condense the rigs, handle the air, get a tent, and do it for a hell of a lot cheaper. So I had that idea at like, I would say like midnight one day. Okay, it was just like brainstorming. It's like, oh wait, and then I found this specific tent that fit perfectly into this corner. I can still get 2 cars in here. This is still a 2-car garage. I can still do it. It fits perfect. And on top of that, at midnight, I thought of all that, and by the next day, not even 16 hours later, everything was ordered to do it. Everything. We got 25 foot worth of ductwork here. That should be all we need. If not, just run to the hardware store. They're 10-inch ducts. These were absolutely a pain to find. All right, these are also 10-inch exhaust. What's going to happen is these are going to get mounted. Let's see if I can grab it. They're going to get mounted like that on the outside of the garage, on the other side of that wall, 4 of them for the exhaust. And thankfully it's got like a little grate in there to keep any critters or anything out. So those are going to be boop, 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 along with one of the air handlers for each. And there's going to be so much airflow through this thing. It's just going to be plain stupid. Like, share, subscribe, hit that notification button, guys, especially if you think I'm stupid and insane and just doing way too damn much. Way too much. I mean, even internet, okay? Here's what I did. A lot of people, a lot of miners say don't use wireless. Wireless is bad. It's not bad if you do it right. It's not bad if you do it right. There's going to be a switch inside there, of course, for the rigs to go to, and it will go to a wireless router. Now, I have some Asus wireless routers, all right? And they have a little thing called an AI mesh, which basically is a advanced version of a repeater mode. It extends the range, but it makes the networks and everything kind of optimize and blah, blah, blah themselves. Well, I have 3 routers capable of that. The main and 2 older ones that I've upgraded from, but I kept. All of them capable of it. Well, let's put it this way. I can sit one right on that shelf or somewhere right around here, and along with another one that I have chained that I already have set up and working, I can actually still get like 30 millisecond hash submit, you know, the lower latency you have when you the miner submit a share, the better. And if you're sitting around 30, 40 milliseconds, it's great. That's what I got it at. I brought some stuff out here to test already. So in other words, we're good to go. We just need power, security, and a lot of video cards. But let's put it this way, guys. I am just shy of hitting 7 gigahash on Ethereum. And by the time this guy is done, I should be able to almost double that. But the thing is, we probably won't be mining Ethereum by then. The merge is coming. So, like I said, I'm still pushing and going and going and going regardless of the video card market, regardless of the market in general. It's go, 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 because this is my show. This is what I live off of, and we're going to make sure that I still can. So we're going to push this, and the idea, the goal, if we can get enough Ethereum and everything, because we're using Ethereum to pay for everything now, the goal is to try to get to 10 gigahash before the merge. And then after the merge, well, we're going to have to see how the market plays out. But we want that incredibly high amount of hash power before going to that route, before having to deal with that. So that way, whatever ends up being the most profitable thing, probably Ethereum Classic, we can switch to, keep that money rolling in, and continue expanding. Because this isn't the last of it. This is another beginning. There is going, once this gets filled, once we start getting even more hash, when this thing gets filled, I'll probably hit 140 to maybe like 150 video cards, maybe even more. I don't know. It's going to be very compact in there. But eventually, the next step after this is we have to get out of here. We have to get out of the house. We have to get out of the garage. We have to go somewhere. And that means a property and expanding even more. Like I said, we grow, we keep growing. We don't stop. Oh, unless, all the coins go to zero, then I guess we stop. There'll be a lot of stuff up on eBay at that point. All right, guys. Well, we'll catch you in the next video.